disaster. And you can even see Naf and Tarek looking at each other like just so nervous, just so relieved they even win that round. That's nice stuff from Stewie, cleaning up a couple kills there at the end and almost bringing it in his favor. But 7-5 now. This has been a good response from OpTic on a 4-1 run at the moment, and the flick from Mixwell. He tries to go for the timing shot out towards long. It doesn't work.
Stanislaw is once again investigating back over here from the doors, though, and there's no presence from Cloud9. Normally they've been having Shroud position here, but he's moved away now. It's OpTic watching along with Skadoodle, and he's going to be able to grab that first kill. Great pickup from him. Knocks out Stanislaw. Now more are going to try to push their way out here, but with a man down already, their intentions may be revealed. We've even got OpTic sitting back here too. He's smoked off currently, but with him and Shroud around the corners here, this is where they could do some damage. It's going to be Rush that finds the first kill, but there, Shroud peeks out from around the box. It's Rush and Nap both going down. OpTic are in a tough spot here now. Clever
play from OpTic to boost up to pick off Skadoodle. That's actually very, very nice, but Shroud with a good read on the situation, rotating towards mid to be able to respond on both kills, but now Tarek's going to follow things up. They know his position, and Shroud's not going to miss that shot. All down to Mixwell as OpTic has been picked off one by one. He's got an angle underneath this smoke, but he's got to hope and pray that Shroud gets over aggressive. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, at least for the moment. And that smoke has a timer on it, so Mixwell is running out of plays he can make here.
And they're all just patiently waiting on the Cloud9 side. Nothing even lurking his way in here, too, and he's going to be the one that finds the opportunity to take down his opponent. Possibility there for a double op setup too that was sitting on the ground for them, but they choose not to take it. They're just going to be sticking with a singular one as they find their 8th round off of that victory there. And obviously OpTic, with the money being broken, they're going to have to go down on for the most part just a pistol pickup here. Deagles are one of their players, and the rest are either going to go with P250s or nothing at all in case of Rush and Mixwell.
Yep, saving up for that last round, making sure they can have as decent a buy as humanly possible there. So. Again, pressure out towards long, nothing in the pit. He's had good rounds from this spot. He's had bad rounds as well. Rush and Tarek with a bomb in lower B. So it remains to be seen if they're going to try and make their way up catwalk or if this is some kind of fake out. Here comes the hit. Nothing again. Caught a little bit unawares with the nade in his hand. Shroud, though, he peeks out. He's blind. He can't really do anything. Nothing cleans up one kill, but he falls immediately afterwards. His long pressure from OpTic has been really successful. And again, Skadoodle getting caught in an awkward position on ramp. So is Shroud. He's out of bullets. This is a nightmare. The positioning from Cloud9 in this whole half has been suspect, and it's bitten him a couple times, perhaps no worse than right now. Stewie coming through the smoke, though. What can he do? The spray's a little bit ugly, but he does get the kill, and that's the bomb down. That should help to stabilize this round a little bit. OpTic's position, though, is still not the best. It's going to be tough for him to really pick anything up unless he catches one of these guys going for the cross to that smoke there. Stan, specifically, as you can see, is a bit cautious because of that factor. So he's taking his time with it, too, and for good reason. It's OpTic. He's going to be able to shut him down and safely falls back into CT now that they've been equalized here. Into a 2 versus 2. Naf still has that AK to work with here, but OpTic even falling completely back here. Catching Naf on the cross, though, to down to 22 HP and finishing the job. Rush, the last man standing, but Stewie's going to handle that. Finally commits back over from Cat and finishes the job for C9. Yeah, but that's very nerve-wracking. I mean, how many times the Cloud9 has been caught in these rotations on that ramp. And a pause here from Cloud9. Tactical, I would assume. Yes, it is. As they figure out, I think they have to do a little bit shuffling with the economy to make sure everyone has a gun, but also, I mean, maybe just to calm themselves down for this last round of the half, make sure they get that 10-5 lead.
We've been seeing so much of that. I think you mentioned it a couple times, and I think I brought it up once too, but the long pressure has become such a point of contention for the Cloud9 roster, and they're very adamant on defending it, despite the fact that I think a majority of the time they've ended up losing it there. At the very least, 1 for 2 trades and whatnot that, for the most part, end up going into OpTic. If it doesn't, at the very least, give them control to then initiate the hit, along with the cap pressure that they then send in with 1 or 2 players there. Not really wanting to pull back and play a little bit more passively. They're always defending it, and for the most part, they always lose nothing and possibly Shroud in certain situations there.
When you're Shroud there, you're the support player out towards long for nothing. You're frequently at long stuck in like a situation where you have to make like the cold-hearted decision of whether you're going to support your teammate in the pit or whether you're just going to give it up, because it's such a long route to fall back on. And nothing has been caught a couple times where he hasn't spotted initially OpTic coming out of that long cave. And that's what makes that fight so difficult for Shroud to determine. Because he doesn't have eyes on it, he feels like he has to help out in some situations, and it's punished them both at times. But still, they maintain that big lead. OpTic peeking a little bit into the double doors in mid, and OpTic with the buy. They had to save basically last round, only pistols, but they do that, and they still are running out of utility pretty early on. They've got 3 smokes, which is nice, but it looks like all that's left for them is an AXQ with Naf playing the kind of lurk role at the top mid to cut off any flanks.
Well, now we have the guys from OpTic moving in over here, over towards Cat. They're going to push themselves up directly into this one too. With a minute left on the clock, We'll start to see the smokes and Molotovs come in for the CT side, so they hold it off for a moment. And we've got Nav still holding back here, too. For the first time in a while, they've avoided the long pressure entirely, but OpTic reads the drop-down play. They know they're in here. It's Skadoodle's got that little hole to look through. That's Mixwell getting knocked out. No responses coming from Tarek, and he's even stuck in the smoke, too. They know he's in there. They find damage, but he falls back, grabs the kill into OpTic, and all of a sudden, nothing caught in a swap, but Shroud supports him, takes him down. Nothing survives with 14 HP, and Skadoodle just shutting them all apart here. Nav is able to pick up at least one more kill, but these final two are so heavily lit up. Rush is trying to run away, but it's not going to pay off. Nothing eliminates him, and Naf is so far away from the action. He's way back down in mid right now, trying to wrap up on the cat. The flashbang goes in, he's blinded the diffuser. He tries to chain it into his second one, but it's not going to pay off. The Cloud9 roster retakes the A site once again, and they will end this half 10-5.
That round was on such a knife's edge. I mean, you can see trying to push that smoke to punish Skadoodle. OpTic Gaming gets sucked a little bit into overcommitting to that fight at long, and they swing out way too wide for Skadoodle at long with the AWP to get a couple kills. So Cloud9 end it with a good lead.
Well, a good stance from Cloud9, a few blemishes here and there, but OpTic are going to be on makeup duty on their CT side. The second half, guys, is coming up here in just a little bit. Do stick with us for more action here at the ESL Pro League Season Finals. Half so far here in Cloud9 versus OpTic Gaming, and now the match itself will continue into the second half as Cloud9 will jump onto the T side and OpTic Gaming will go on to the defense here. But they only have 5 rounds on the board so far coming off of their first half, and if Cloud9 will start up with a pistol, that will certainly make things very, very difficult with the lead they could attain off of that one. Moses, your thoughts now going into the second half, and obviously the big lead difference that OpTic have to make up for?
I think the interesting thing right now is that, you know, OpTic has 5 rounds in their first half, which isn't great, but I think they're going to be happy with that considering Tarek and Mixwell have really struggled to have a good impact in this match. But that's also got to be worrying now on the CT side. If your 2 stars haven't shown up, this is going to be so very difficult for them, especially, like you said, if Cloud9's able to get both pistol rounds, that might just seal it. But definitely OpTic feeling the lack of their star presence when you have guys like Stewie on the other side having some of those big impact rounds, and you have guys like Skadoodle having great. I mean, this is 14-9 for him. He's had a very good match. The op at that A bomb site was very effective. Cloud9 again, just much like OpTic, going to go right out long, but Mixwell, he gets that first kill. Can't get anything after that. Oh, excuse me, Sanazog gets it. There's Mixwell chiming in. Good trades, though, from Cloud9. Down into a 3-on-3. They have long control and 1 smoke, but it looks like they don't want to press the issue.
Not yet. They're waiting to see here now. OpTic as well have rotated a little bit, but even they're a bit cautious upon it. They don't have anybody sitting in the site. Actually, I thought Rush was sitting up on Cat, but no, he's down in CT. So he's going to be sitting back here waiting, and as far as pressure beyond that, the only thing they're trying to apply now is sending Tarek back over here on mid. This could prove very, very useful, however, as Cloud9 may peek back out in a moment, and this is where Tarek's going to be able to spot it. Can he stay alive, though? And there's the headshot. He's got the bomb and the second one, both at long range. Huge kills from Tarek, and now final player is going to be Skadoodle here. The CT smoke actually comes in, so they'll let him reclaim the bomb and go back out towards long. They're going to have to spot him out here and figure out where exactly he went.
Yeah, I think that was actually a bad smoke. Obviously, Skadoodle has no way of knowing that all 3 members of OpTic are there, but no one's actually defending the site. So Skadoodle could still get in there and get a cheeky little plant off. I mean, he's going to have to be very cautious. Like I said, he doesn't know, and now I think just because of how cautious he has to be, it's taken too long. I don't think OpTic's going to be letting him get this plant. Although Skadoodle, speaking of...
He's got 30 seconds left if he wants to try and escape, but no, he's sticking around here. He's going to try to take the battle, lights up one player, looking for the headshot on the second one, but just as he's about to escape in CT, Tarek leaps down, grabs the final kill. A great round from him, good movement there to get himself back up on the top mid, and spotting those 2 players and taking them down, obviously, is what turns the tables and allows OpTic to secure the second pistol.
Yeah, they needed that. They absolutely did. Good job from Mixwell. Gets that second kill as well, but then Tarek flanking up mid. So both of the stars, as I just said, they struggled to have an impact in the first half. They've had good impact, at least on the pistol round, and Tarek and Stan both get tagged by scouts through the door as they cross. So not any critical damage is done. They're both down to about 66, 67, but still not exactly the most fun in the world. 2 scouts on Cloud9, Stewie and Shroud, and then a Deagle on automatic, Skadoodle and nothing. Skadoodle definitely not invested whatsoever. Nothing as armor, a Glock in the utility, so he's got a smoke flash for a late round situation.
And it's the usual group up as well for this T side now, moving themselves over here towards the bottom of middle here, just outside of the doors, and really preparations to take this into either site now if they want to burst it out towards mid and then try to wrap it up towards B or go into the cat hit. Generally tends to be the 2 most common from here, but it does look like for now they are favoring Cap, being very cautious about the way to set this up here. Stewie goes first, but he'll be grouped up with automatic and a few others here in just a moment as they do start to move in there towards it. And 3 members from OpTic game will remain here. Rush will have to rotate up a bit, but the main bulk of it is going to be coming down to Mixwell along with Naf as they push in. And actually, as they push in, Naf is blinded immediately, and on the repeat, he doesn't get much done. Mixwell working at long range with the SMG, but he gets 2 kills and a lot of damage. There's Naf chiming in now. He's going to be able to pick one up with a scout. Still very low here, but at the very least, the damage that was done earlier by Mixwell, it's really forced Shroud and Skadoodle into the back. There's not a whole lot that they can try and do here, so they're trying to play it back, but just doesn't work out. OpTic move in and do shut it down without too much extra conflict.
Yeah, there was an opportunity there. Good damage dealt from Cloud9, but they just couldn't win out in the end. So good defense from OpTic. Naf, obviously, with that Molotov, slowing things down, preventing any plant from coming in, manning up that defense when it seemed like it was likely to crumble. So Cloud9's going to have to just fully save into this round. They do upgrade. I mean, Shroud upgrades a pistol. Skadoodle's got all the money that he needs because he's going to have it up in the next round. But this is a chance now for OpTic with those SMGs. Build up some money. Send Stanislaw Mixwell to be a little bit more aggressive. You know there's not going to be any armor on the Cloud9 side. Let's see what you can do.
Let's see, Rush is going to hold close quarters too against what could be a possible push in here in a moment from C9. They're still holding up around the area here, and Automatic has pushed himself forward, but not moving in just yet, as he does now. However, Rush is waiting for it, and he is going to grab that kill against Automatic through the smoke with bullets. Give him the hint, and obviously he just takes the shot to close it out there. So first one going their way, and it's not going to be too difficult to kill anyone else that follows it up now that he knows there is presence here. But after that one, it is looking like, I think, that the C9 roster, again, is just going to group up here, sort of play it by ear in terms of where they take it.
Yeah, I mean, all that's really left for them. They don't have anything. They don't have, like, at this point, if you don't have utility, this is when you normally say you have a Deagle, and you're like, that we want that Deagle to be the one to do the damage. But they don't even have that. They just have a P250 on Shroud. So basically all that's left is for them to charge into their death, especially considering there's a player in the back of the B bomb, so that's Tarek with an M4, so he's going to have the advantage of that range. Although not utilizing it, he could get caught off guard, but Stan is there to help him out. 3 quick kills for him, 3 quick headshots. Builds up that bonus. He brought down to 4, but does not fall.
Clean sweep for OpTic there to start things off. No risk after they pick up the pistol. They don't get upset in a second. Cloud9 don't manage to maintain it there. And now, of course, we go into the danger zone as OpTic sits within just 2 rounds of tying this one up, which could prove to be very, very bad indeed here for the C9 roster, considering how hard they worked for their lead in the first half. Issues already popping up here. Certainly not going to look too good, but we've got our first gun round in front of us, and Skadoodle with the op. He's going to be sitting back over here in Suicide, waiting to see if he can catch anybody getting aggressive from the OpTic side, but it's the exact opposite sort of play style here now coming in for the OpTic roster. They're playing it pretty much as default as you can now for the CT end of things.
And this is where I think the regional matchup is going to be very interesting because Cloud9, I mean, one of the advantages of the kind of aggressive plays that Stewie makes is that it catches people off guard. Like some of these Europeans who aren't expecting that kind of aggression at certain moments. Well, I'm sure all those tactics that Cloud9 used and all the fast-paced things that Stewie was doing, he's tried those and he's used them on the NA teams at some point in practice, in Rank S, in the Pugs, in the official league matches. So they're going to know a lot of the things that he has in his personal playbook. So he's going to be limited. He's going to really have to pick and choose where he does, his crazier plays.
Cloud9 grouped up now, ready to initiate, but they need to find a kill or two here to allow them to actually push into one of these bomb sites, and it doesn't look like OpTic are going to give them that chance anytime soon here. Closest player would be Mixwell sitting on the other side, but he's very safely tucked away behind a big wall of smokes, and even he's actually starting to get a little bit curious, so maybe Cloud9 will have that chance, especially with the smoke moving in. Very slowly creeping back over there behind the box in CT. Does not want to give himself away, which could have proved risky if someone from C9 wanted to push through that smoke. They choose to not take the chance, so Mixwell stays alive, and now Cloud9 are moving in. They reapply the smoke, and the first kill goes by the way of Tarek. He almost grabs the second, but he's been blinded by the flashbang and stays in the open where nothing is going to take him down. And that puts all the defense here on the Mixwell, peeking back out along with Stannis on the site, but he's got control. He's waiting for the second player to move out, but good movement from Cloud9 there. They allow OpTic to go in first. The second player on window catches Stan off guard and does not allow him to get either of the players pushing out from the tunnels. And now Shroud cutting them off. An instant headshot on the Mixwell as he tries to push up the tunnel, and they've got the advantage here in the 3v2.
They also even know there's a second player in tunnel, so good read. They have all the info they need, and I think it's already a save call. Naf's going to bail out very, very quickly in this. He's only got a scout. Rush has the M4 picked up now, and he's just going to run off as well. So Cloud9, it was a little bit sketchy. It was a little bit scary. I think Stan in that B bomb site. OpTic was trying to come through the window, but got occupied by someone in CT spawn. So that helped. I mean, Stan was able to get that kill on nothing and not get refragged immediately. So the fact that OpTic was able to get in and find that was very, very nice. And there goes the scout. So first gun round goes to Cloud9 off the back of a B split, and it's going to be 11-8. The next buy for the OpTic side is going to be strong again, though. I mean, Mixwell's got no money, but they can drop whatever they want over to him, and everyone else can get anything they want.
So we take a look here now as Cloud9 does resume their lead, but OpTic are not giving up on this just yet, of course, as their investment comes in. Managed to actually get themselves the double op setup. Naf and Tarek picking up the ops for both of the members here on OpTic Gaming. Mixwell, interestingly, not going to go for that here. Skadoodle taking some of the early shots as he once again drops down into suicide to look for those, but does not net himself a connection onto anyone here. They both get across safely, and again, they go into their usual positions. A little bit later on mid this time as they are using one of the B defenders to hold it. That going to Tarek, obviously, with him having the op, but that is going to allow them to send 3 players back over towards A and try to fend off some long aggression, which at the moment I don't really think there's been a whole lot of from Cloud9. Really only 1 or 2 players poking on their eco rounds and back in rounds 2 or 3, but since then they haven't said anything there. It's all been Cat in terms of A pressure.
Cat control now. Naf and Tarek, the double op setup. Tarek has his over in B, Naf over at long. So where does Cloud9 decide to go? Looks like they just want to do another mid to B split. Waiting for a flash. Stewie probably leading the way to clear things out. And here it comes. It pops. Nope, that's the smoke. So they do just thought they're going to go out and do the little shorter execution of this, but it's not going to happen. Molotov to keep Tarek from peeking down. That's going to help out a little bit, but he's got an angle at the door. What can he find from here? He throws a Molotov, so he gives up the angle with his AWP, and now he's got to hit a beautiful shot. He does leg one, but I don't think he can get away before recovering. He does, though. It's a very quick shot. Nicely done from Tarek, and Stan is there to get one more, but they still have to clean out this op. He knows there's one on the site, and there's the distraction. Mixwell now trying to come through the doors. The timing is not well flashed, but he wins it anyways. Shroud eats it right in the eyes.
Tarek even still just waiting outside. They're going to let him go for the plan here now. Final 2, and that's actually Skadoodle getting aggressive into the tunnels. He's going to be able to find Rush, trying to wrap his way back around there. Suddenly, tables are turning a little bit. The smoke in the doorway. Tarek doesn't feel confident enough to push back in here yet, and the Molotov going back outside of the window. That can be avoided, obviously, as we can see Mixwell doing now, but still, they're hesitant to go into the site, and all this time wasted. Well, it's let Skadoodle back in. They're checking the complete wrong area. Skadoodle and OpTic find 2 kills. It goes into the 1v1. Bit of a hesitant battle here, but Naf switching over to his pistol. Time's running low. Naf, you need to get the hell up there and find the shot. Tries to no-scope it. The miss, but then he goes out. It's the shotgun knob. Shuts down OpTic, but he can't find the kit. Finds it though, thankfully. He'll be able to get this defuse, and the round should go into the way of OpTic Gaming.
That is some insanity right there. Naf in a desperate situation. Knows he has to get aggressive. OpTic, you can't play that much better in the one-on-one, but Naf wins it out with a beautiful no-scope. But it's really Tarek who falling back into the site. I mean, recovering like that, that one kill he has slows down Cloud9 from taking over that site. That's what allows time for the rotations to come in. And look at this, Cloud9, they would love to be able to buy knowing that went down into a one-on-one, but they know they just can't. They don't want to give up too much, so they'll be able to buy into the next round, and they just played conservative. Stewie's got Tech 9 armor. Bunch of flashbangs, though. They can set up some kind of an execution. It looks like it's going to be up catwalk. Xbox is smoked off. They're going to be able to get up, and with 1 smoke and 4 flashes, they want to use these flashes to chain Nafly away from the cross. They want to make sure he can't pick them off as they try and get in the site. It'll isolate Mixwell, and if they can pick him off, they'll at least get a plant here.
Support system from Stan and Tarek in that last round was really well set up too, and Tarek's movement is something to be respected there. But now, Cloud9 are going to try to force their way into this A bomb site. Naf getting the nice shot there onto one of them, hitting him a bit as they do drop in, but it doesn't net the kill. And now Mixwell's blind, but he's got the support from Rush further back down. That's not what Cloud9's focused on though. They got the site control, but Mixwell's tearing them all to pieces. It's not looking good for them to actually hold it here in the post plant. Mixwell doesn't get that last kill, but Rush moves in to close things down. Only the loss of Mixwell is gained for C9 here, but still the round will go into the hands of OpTic, and they're going to get it in double digits and 1 round away from tying it up.
Yeah, but the plant is so nice for Cloud9. That's going to give him plenty of money. Skadoodle has all the money he needs for an AWP. He's leading the way, which is a nice change to see from Skadoodle of recent times. So another chance here for Cloud9, but this double op setup ever since OpTic pretty switches in that pretty early on, and they've won 2 in a row now with it.
So we'll see here. OpTic down by 1, and Cloud9 emptying out the bank accounts once again to see if they can pick anything up here. Skadoodle looking for that opening shot, but it won't be found. And Tarek starting to push his way through the doorway here too, hunting for that early player. Not to be found either. It's just another round where we have a big group up from the Cloud9 roster. All of their players sitting over here on top mid, and they've got 1 more sitting down below in the lower tunnels, but it's already sort of evacuated here, and if not, he'll have the support system from Naf to get him out of there. Nades being tossed in. Again, though, the damage somewhat minuscule. Risk was taken in this, and they left the A-site defenses rather weak, but with how slow Cloud9 is taking it, they are going to be able to readjust to get them back into the site. Yeah,
and also, not only did they leave the A-site exposed entirely, but Naf and Tarek were the 2 closest to support that, so the ops coming up the ramp would have essentially been it would have been so difficult for them to have any kind of effect. So Naf's the only one here now. Under the cover of that smoke, though, they're able to carpet bomb the site with Molotovs. Flashes ring out. They're going to have to play retake. Naf doesn't even try and fight for the cross. He gives it up. It's going to be a 5-on-5, and Tarek and Sanazal, they haven't even left the B site yet.
They're still waiting for that 1 or 2 players to move out late into mid there, too, to try to catch some of these rotators. It won't be found. Everybody from Cloud9 was focused 100% on that site, but look at how hesitant they are. This is so much time being wasted, and there's good reason, obviously, behind it from the OpTic side, but still, it's a bit unfortunate as now they have all this work to do over here up on the site itself for the retake, and they don't have a whole lot of time to do it. This has to be 5 very quick kills, or enough of it, at the very least, to clear it out. Skadoodle, though, is going to shut down 1. We see the second coming in, but Shroud finding another one for Cloud9. There's 2 more, but Cloud9 with their 2 as well brings us into a 1 versus 2. Naf cannot do anything about this. He needs to fall back and save. Unfortunately, was not able to assist with that one. It's going to be a 12 for C9, and they just barely keep their lead going. Naf may not even be able to save this gun. He's going to be challenged, but they don't expect him to be that much into the open. Naf, at the very least, takes down Shroud. We will not see a contestation from Nothing.
Yeah, and not a bad round. Nothing, I think, has to drop a gun over. Yeah, so there's not going to be an op on the Cloud9 side this time. And that retake, 5-on-5, you give up the site completely, but that retake just takes so long to come in. So much time is eaten off that bomb timer. Everything had to go right in that retake for them to actually win that round, and unfortunately, it doesn't. So they're not able to do anything. They get some kills, but not able to make progress on the site in that retake. So 12-10 now for Cloud9, as something just fell over in the arena somewhere.
Scared.
I don't know if you guys heard that on the stream, but it was like a little thunder, lightning and thunder.
All right, getting back into the mix. That's Cloud9 are going to push themselves again over here towards the mid area here. And Stewie already moving forward, but the problem is they are going to have to deal with the Naf on the fadeaway, but he's blind. Tries to take the shot really early, but it's about a second or two too early there. He ends up dropping back down. Cloud9 get control easily here, but look at how forward Mixwell's being, and that's a perfect nade. OpTic and Stewie both get hit by that one, and that's going to call for an immediate fallback on the Cloud9 side of things.
Yeah, that nade has got to indicate that there's some pressure on this catwalk behind these smokes. The angle that it comes in, and actually I don't know if Mixwell meant to do that, but that's a scary situation for him to drop there. So Naf is going to be out towards cross. Mixwell and CT spawn, trying to see if this execution is going to come out, and actually Nothing's going to probe out mid. He might actually have Mixwell.
They're going to change up the Sid at the last second. Mixwell, though, chiming with the first one and stands waiting around the corner, and he gets the secondary support from Mixwell. Mixwell, the balls, just moves right out through the smoke there to be able to assist his teammate, and that sort of tag team play is what's allowing for OpTic to come back in such a stunning fashion. Now it's just automatic, but he really has no good ground to work with here besides utility and the B side control, but he's lost the bomb. He's going to have to move and at the very least take down Mixwell. He'll probably have to deal with Naf too as he moves out. Good flashbang. There's that kill he needs on to Mixwell, but 20 seconds left to retrieve this bomb and get back onto the site. Any he's got 2 players waiting for him back in the tunnels.
Yeah, this is not a good situation for OpTic. He's not going to be able to win this one, so just pick up the bomb and just try and get away, but that's not going to happen. Naf picks him off, so closer again in Cloud9. I mean, a good TF we saw yesterday, but they're not able to string 2 rounds together in this half quite yet. So OpTic making a very good comeback, and you can see Stewie's going to pause this. This is actually a very scary situation if you're Cloud9, because your money's pretty much, I mean, it's running low at all times. You're not able to have solid buys multiple times in a row. And OpTic, I mean, this defense is looking very, very strong. And part of that, Tarek and Mixwell have really come alive. I think it was, 4 and 5 kills when we started this half. Now it's 12 and 15. So very, very good effort from them in the second half. That
is the second tactical pause coming in for Cloud9. They used their first one back over in the first half, actually after they had 1 around there, but it was rather close, and it was off of the eco from OpTic there, where only 1 or 2 members of C9 ended up surviving. However, very short pauses, so we should be getting back into the action now. And it is going to be another just about half buy round here from C9. They get Tech9 armor from most of them, a little bit of utility here and there too. Skadoodle obviously going to be saving a little bit more. Actually, he's one of the lowest currently, down at 1,500, so he really can't afford to buy anything if he's wanting to save up for that op. OpTic, however, back up to full force. They actually do have a couple players downgrading a bit there, most notably Mixwell looking to scavenge some cash here, as I believe they know they have control of the economy. He's down at, he's picking up the SMG for this one, and Stan just unfortunately does not have a choice. He'll have to go to a FAMAS, but it's full utility tips across the board. And while Cloud9 aren't really going to beat around the bush with this round, they're all going into the tunnels early on here, and we'll see if they try to take it into the site quickly after.
Skadoodle with the bomb is going to stay outside of upper B, so you imagine this would come into a mid to B split with nothing doing a pop flash so the players can get out lower B. And this might actually work. Tarek's in CT spawn, so he's going to be able to get smoked off pretty easily. There's only 1 player defending that B bomb site. Depending on how Tarek plays this, it could be a nightmare. For the moment, just spotted the crack, and the timing, he doesn't see it coming quite yet. 4 players in mid for Cloud9. Skadoodle now with the bomb. The execute's going to come out any moment, and they're just going to walk out. So actually, Tarek could have a chance here if they don't just smoke this off right now, and they're going to do it. And Tarek grabs an awkward angle, but he sees him. It doesn't plume quite yet. There's the flash. He wants to go through. He knows the defense is weak, and there it is, 1 kill, but it's traded off. The B bomb site is lost. This is the nightmare for OpTic, and they've even got 1 player, Stewie with an AK-47. He's going to be preventing anyone from crossing through that smoke in CT.
They try to both pop out into the open to support each other, but they go down 1 by 1, and it just allows both of them to get dismantled. They only lose nothing there as Tarek grabs the kill. Stewie gets aggressive, and that's a mistake. Rush is going to catch him when he's still trading out weapons. Grabs that kill. At the very least, they've been able to get back up to the site to start the retake, but they still have 3 more players to take down, and one of them still armed with a rifle. OpTic taking that off of the hands of Stan, and now, oh, Mixwell grabbing Skadoodle as he tries to jump up for intel. Another mistake from him, but there's OpTic grabbing 1 with a grenade. Shroud finds 1 with a pistol, trying to play it out here. Nav, he's only got the op, so he's got to switch over to his pistol, but OpTic with the scavenged rifle shuts it down. 3K for him on this round, and Cloud9 pick up a 13th. Yeah,
that's just a straight up tactical outplay for Cloud9. Blind as well. They don't know the setup that OpTic's running, but with Tarek and CT spawn, that B defense is so weak, and it was the right idea in that situation for OpTic. Both Tarek and the B defender trying to actually be aggressive on mid. Tarek pushing through that smoke to try and help his teammate. The trades just don't go in their favor, and Skadoodle adds a little bit of an insult to it, a pick through the mid doors. It's only an eco for OpTic, so it's not any kind of big loss, but now outside long, Stewie just spraying away. This is going to be a slaughter. The AKs are getting involved now. Mixwell inside the smoke. They don't see him, but OpTic knows it's a possibility. Now he comes out and gets picked off. It's just Tarek left.
Awkwardly wondering just what the hell he can do here, as it's a 1v4 and he's sitting on the opposite side of the map. He's only got that CZ to play with, the possibility maybe to work in there and scavenge a gun, but even that's going to be difficult, as Skadoodle is sitting in the pit waiting for someone to work out that doorway. As soon as Tarek walks out, unless he has a creative flashbang to blind Scott here, it's going to be tough. Actually, Shroud taking the duel a little bit further back onto long itself, but he does manage it there. Cloud9 closing out that one. No risk from OpTic's eco there. And we will go 14-11. OpTic make the choice to buy into this one. They're playing for the win instead of the tie in overtime.
Yeah, but this is scary if you're OpTic. I mean, obviously you have to do it because Cloud9's at 14 and you want to go for that win, but the setup that won them so many rounds that was so effective was that double up. Stan takes a little bit of damage. Now they don't have it. In fact, I mean, they're significantly weaker. Stan with an MP9, Mixwell with a FAMAS. Not even a couple M4s to take the position of those AWPs, and a lot of utility that they don't bring into this round. No kits as well on the OpTic side.
Well, we are seeing Cloud9 group up again, and they're being cautious now since OpTic are in a bit of a desperate spot on this map if they still want to try to take control of the game. Obviously making sure that nothing pushes out over there on the cat and whatnot, but we're going to see the rest of C9 now grouping up to actually start their own conquest here over towards cat. And Naf again, blinded by a flashbang. It's been a very common theme for him. Now it's to fall back and yield room once again to the Cloud9 roster.
Mixwell, this is a scary spot. That smoke comes out at the right moment. He's going to try and get around it. He's going to catch one off guard. That's Shroud coming through the smoke. Stewie finds the refrag. One player in the site is caught out in the open. He gets under cover, and so much damage has been done. OpTic and Stewie have nothing. Naf in the bomb site. And actually, Cloud9's going to get stopped. They're going to fall right back, and there's no pressure behind them quite yet. 50 seconds left, but it's got to be nothing in Skadoodle to initiate. They have the most HP.
It's a very aware Cloud9 as they fall back to watch out for these types of flanks. And Stanislaw is now trying to activate. Shut out by OpTic as Stanislaw does not get anything done whatsoever, but at the very least they know they're back out of the site now. And that was the good play from Mixwell that we did see there. Considering he had done this a couple of rounds ago, the interesting is that he was never actually revealed. He just threw that nade and the hit two of them pretty heavily, and then Cloud9 backed out. So he was able to do this again without too much suspicion being raised from the Cloud9 side. Now, though, they're waiting for Naf to try and get aggressive. He doesn't do it, and as he backs away, he's got the angle line up on his Stewie, but it's Rush that falls in from long, able to take him down and finish off the job. He's now tucked away, waiting for more of the aggression to come back in, but Rush also has to deal with the long pressure. He's able to handle that, though, takes down nothing, and all of a sudden, there's 16 HP for 2 players left, and they cannot do anything at all. Rush, a big round from him on the 4K, and guys from OpTic will still remain in this game for a little bit longer.
Cloud9 does everything right in that 3-on-3. It is just nothing at long with the Galil. Not the best weapon for that range. Still a kill he should have gotten. And since he misses, it allows the defense over at A to be so incredibly strong and so much damage done early on in that round. Cloud9 almost bring it in their favor, but another good hold from the OpTic side, and now they have at least one AWP. They have utility as well. 4 Molotovs to utilize. Cloud9 seem a little bit confused early on in this round. Most of the team running towards the B bomb site, but stopping before they get right outside of it and going back to T spawn. So maybe you're going to allow Skadoodle to try and get a pick into this B bomb site. We'll see how aggressive he's feeling at the moment.
Well, we are going to see now Cloud9 again grouping themselves up, but with the pressure in the tunnels being a thing that we haven't seen in quite a few rounds, it is very likely that this turns itself into a mid to B split with the tunnels activating a couple seconds later here. OpTic have gotten used to more of the pressure coming out towards Cat, so again, they're going to completely ignore it. If Cloud9 were going to go for mid pressure, this would be the perfect round to do it, as right now they don't have anything defending that. Again, however, they end up going back out towards mid with the bomb included, and they're starting to look towards Cat once more.
At the moment, just being very, very slow. 3 smokes left on the Cloud9 side. Stewie, Skadoodle, and OpTic with those. 2 of the smokes are going to be an upper B. And this is looking like, I mean, this is something Cloud9 has done from time to time, that timing hit into the B bomb site with no nades. We'll see if they feel like doing it once the smoke subsides. Got to imagine that one smoke is going to be used from Stewie. It already has been. That's out in mid. That's for the mid to B, but it's only going to be 1 player in mid. So this time OpTic has the right setup. They have 2 players in the B site, the one in the far back. Tarek's got to win this fight. It's going to be huge, and he does, but OpTic drops the off, or drops Stanislaw in the back. That's the bigger kill, and now the B bomb site is lost. The bomb is going to get planted eventually. OpTic's got a cross for it, and Cloud9 have complete control.
Mixwell looking to hop back in there, but also Naf running way over to the other side of this one, too. He's going for the long rotate.
They're saving. They're already saving in this round, so they're going to yield it. They're just going to give Cloud9 15. I mean, not a bad idea overall, because you want to have whatever weapons you can, and in a 3-on-4 with only a couple flashbangs to use, and everyone being very, very far away. I mean, really not a whole lot of hope in that situation. B is a very, very difficult bomb site to retake with low utility in a disadvantaged situation. So OpTic playing this round conservative, but it's risky. Their backs are against the wall now. Map 1 is very close from falling into Cloud9's favor.
Overall, the B bomb site in general has been very underutilized by both teams on their T side. Cloud9 finally using it, and they've been the ones who use it just a little bit more here, as we've seen. Finally, it works out for them. They're able to pick up a round off of it. It's a very key one, too, but with 3 potential players saving, and it's looking like it's going to remain that 3 here on OpTic's side. That is still going to allow, I imagine, for a pretty good rebuy to come in on the last round. Maybe lapse utility for a few players, but hopefully they should be able to donate a gun or 2 over. My eyes do not deceive me. Yep, now it's going to pick one up there, and I believe Mixwell does the same. So that'll get tossed over to Tarek and Stan. They'll still have full guns for 5 players across the board, but it's the utility that is going to be severely lacking, especially after these first few seconds if Cloud9 applies the aggression properly.
And I like this. I mean, yeah, there's a couple players missing utility. Overall, it's not too bad. Naf, though, I mean, this is the aggression you want to see. This is when your back's against the wall, you want to take initiative, but they're messing up this boost. This is just a standard boost, and they keep missing the timing on it. So that's not good. OpTic, I mean, 3rd time's the charm, not this time, and they just say, screw it, we're going to fall back. So there's an opportunity as 2 players. Stewie and OpTic were in lower B, so that would have been a great chance to find a pick, but not executing that boost well.
And as they move away here, too, Cloud9 starts to get ready to push in, as since B worked once, well, it may not hurt to try it again. As we do see Stewie starting to push his way out over here towards mid, and I mean, OpTic, they've handed over free. It's not even like they got a player at car watching for this one. They've got one over here behind the boxes, and Tarek tries to crawl back into the site. He gets one along the way, but automatic trades it out. Skadoodle getting aggressive there inside of the tunnels. Finds Stanislaw now, able to take up another kill. That's full B site control. OpTic, they can't save anymore, but they won't even get the chance to. Shroud moving out into mid, shuts down Mixwell. They're under full control of this map now. OpTic have nothing to work with here. Nav is going to try to push out, but once again, Shroud just waiting for them here in mid. Nav doesn't even know what hit him. He's been knocked out. Rush stuck in CT spawn, the last hope for this team. But even crossing mid is going to be a tough task, as Shroud is waiting. He's able to net that kill. Still a smoke and a Molotov sitting in his arsenal, and he'll immediately use that smoke to try to get into the site. Up close is a second player. He's chaining this into another one. Hold on, Rush may have some heroics as of yet. Skadoodle's down at 26 HP. He hasn't seen it behind that box, and he's going to molly it off. Going for the fuse now. Can Skadoodle see? And he can. Doesn't check it, and that ends up being the bad news for him. Skadoodle shuts it down, and Cloud9 take this map 16-12.
Oh, your heart's got to go out for Rush in that situation. A phenomenal attempt in a very, very tough spot, but Cloud9, they found the winning formula by the end of that match, and it was mid to B splits. OpTic could never get a good read on when it was coming, and even just a couple times a little bit unlucky for them. It was just blindly the wrong setup to have, and that's a big bummer, but that mid B split can be so effective. The good news for Cloud9, Skadoodle, 23 kills in this. We haven't seen that in a while. Shroud, 22. He's picked that up from yesterday as well. Continued that good effort. And it's again automatic leading the way with 24. But Mixwell and Tarek, they had a rough first half. They stepped it up a bit in the second.
Well, guys, we have the experts waiting for us back over at the analyst desk. Let's send it over to Machine to talk a little bit more about Dust2.
Cloud9 win their map pick. Thank you very much. That's Blue and Moses casting over that one. Our second quarterfinal of today. Now I'm joined by Peacemaker and Sponge to talk through this one, and indeed it did go as anticipated. You guys expected to see Cloud9 pick it up in the end, but do you think OpTic put up the best fight we were anticipating here? I mean, it is nice that we're starting to actually see teams win their map pick, which is not how the group stage started. Peacemaker, starting with you, was that as expected for you coming into this one?
Not really. I kind of missed my prediction when I said they would get crushed. But I think that this game, I don't remember how many times the teams broke each other's economies during this game. Like there's a lot of back-to-back rounds, and one team wins the eco round, force buys and stuff like that. So, I mean, in the end, I think that C9 had a very different style, especially on their T side, where I thought that they would start very strong and trying to set the pace, but instead they choose to play very slow and developing map control, and I think they probably caught OpTic off guard in a way that they couldn't adapt.
It certainly helps when some individuals are showing up. One example we can show you is, of course, of Stewie 4K this time. 4 quick kills for Cloud9, enabling him and his team to pick up yet another round. We can show you that right now, I do believe. Or not. I mean, that's an opportunity as well. But Stewie did pick up some frags, and I was hoping to demonstrate exactly what he was capable of. And I mean, this is what we were talking about, right? No equipment, Chad. No equipment needed.
So if you're losing to just one saved AWP, basically, you're going to have a rough time. And OpTic put up a really good performance, a much better performance than we thought here on the desk. And if they hadn't lost this round, or there was a couple of other ecos or force buys that they had lost as well, if they were able to hold on to those and convert them like they should, this could have been either an overtime or an OpTic win. So this is where you see Cloud9 having not more skill, but showing more skill. And these are the types of performances from people stepping up and winning rounds single-handedly. If you can do that, as well as having structured Counter-Strike, like what we saw on the T side of Cloud9, then you're starting to build the full package. And like Peacemaker said, them being structured on their T side caught OpTic off guard, I think.
Yeah, was the T side from OpTic underwhelming for you guys? I mean, they got 5 rounds on their T side. It looked like they hit a bit of a brick wall initially. I think Cloud9 got, 6 or 5 rounds consecutively just to start things off. First buy round and stuff like that. I mean, OpTic unable to make too much of an impact on their attacking side. What were some of the flaws you identified, Peacemaker? Was there anything they were doing like evidently wrong? Yeah,
especially when they won their first round on T side, and this is where they could get their economy broken. And then this is where I think that they should have went for a more like a slow style and develop map control and maybe do some kind of execution, but instead it was round 5 or round 6 where they choose to rush B right after winning a round, and then they lost this round. They got their economy broken, and I mean this is where I don't agree with this kind of approach. And this is where, for example, in the next round after this, they had a force buy and did a catwalk execution and they won the round. So why not doing the catwalk execution in the other one and maybe try to develop some momentum during the match? And this is where I think that things got really bad for them. And also, like I would say that they won like 2 force buys. going A. So maybe like this is the reason why they even had some rounds, because they won those first buys. Otherwise, I think that C9 would win even more comfortable.
2 out of the 5 rounds you win on T side are because of a force buy. Certainly must be indicating more aggression.
Yeah, here's something to touch on. Like when you're force buy or a low buy, it's so stupid that you have a different mentality, but you do. As a player myself, okay, I've got a Tech 9, or I've got a Deagle. I'm going to be a bit more risky. Imagine if people could have that mindset, when they have the AKs and stuff, the more powerful weaponry, we might see rounds play out completely differently. So this is when you have aggressive players, so it doesn't matter what type of weapon they have. Like a Stewie, for example, they can get anything done in any situation. So if players could, people actually genuinely get worried. Like I've played with people in the past who have been like, oh, I haven't used all of my nades yet. I don't want to risk my life by doing this. But the situation calls for you to go for that wide peak or take that risk. And it's just things in people's heads that it doesn't make sense all the time. It is fundamentally right, but sometimes the situation calls for the counterintuitive play.
I mean, we'll be seeing perhaps more of that in our second map, but you're right. Sometimes you just have to you only live once. Go for that YOLO play, indeed. Well, you actually live more than that. In fact, 30 rounds, you can live 30 times in CSGO. That's the beauty of it. But talking of CSGO, there's more events around the corner, not just this one, which we're enjoying here for the 4th season of the Pro League. We're also reminding you guys to check out Oakland. If you're in the area or you fancy some CS online as well, make sure it's in your calendar. It's iemoakland.com. $300,000, and some of your favorite CSGO teams will be there. So do be sure to go check that out as my dinner starts making its way back up. Oh, I just had some beef. It
was good though.
The Brazilians do beef well. That is something I've learned. In fact, just the whole barbecue thing.
Barbecue, right?
Oh, God. Let's not get started on that. Chicken hearts, not really my thing. Did you like them?
Yeah, I remember it was first night. I didn't even know what they were. I was like, just saying yes to everything appeared on my plate. Why not?
Yeah, you did that was the YOLO. There you go. Yeah. In all aspects of life, Chad lives the YOLO life. All right, and alongside that, you can go ahead and grab the eScore eSports application. It can actually give you a little preview of what's going on in IM Oakland, or even a catch-up of what you may have missed here at the ESL Pro League Finals Season 4. Want to check out what happened in Season 3? You know where to go. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it will be Cobblestone. We're going to be seeing if OpTic can bounce back on their map pick. We hope to see you there.